Utility Security Podcast, your command center for all things utility security. From power plant warriors to grid guardians, and even curious citizens, this podcast is your essential briefing on keeping up to date with knowledge and insights for securing our nation's utilities. Expert intel through interviews with security chiefs, tech wizards, and policy shapers. Tune in as we explore the latest vulnerabilities, industry best practices, and inspiring stories of resilience from the frontline heroes keeping our grids secure.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a close look at utility security. But maybe not in the way you'd expect. We're not focusing on the hackers or the saboteurs outside the fence today.
No, not the usual suspects.
Because the sources we've dug into for you, they make it really clear. Your toughest adversaries, the biggest challenges, they're actually inside the organization.
Right. So our mission today is to understand why, beefing up firewalls or building higher fences can be kind of pointless if you haven't tackled that internal resistance first.
It sounds a bit backwards, I know, but it's so important. Our analysis points to 3 specific internal roadblocks. These things, they create a culture that it fights against the security upgrades you really need.
And if you don't deal with them first?
Any money you throw at fancy security tech, it's pretty much wasted.
Okay, so what are these 3 big internal hurdles? We're looking at complacency, misconceptions, and parochialism. And what's really interesting is how they feed off each other. They sort of merge into this institutional resistance. It blinds decision makers, lets vulnerabilities just sit there, festering.
Which leads to
this organizational whiplash, as I mentioned before. Either grabbing some cheap, inadequate fix, or panicking and overspending after a disaster finally happens. That knee-jerk reaction.
Right, closing the barn door after the horse is bolted.
Exactly. So the core idea today, the real theme, is that genuine lasting security. It means you have to challenge traditions. You have to change minds. Basically, if you want real resilience, you've got to be willing to rock the boat. Sometimes quite hard.
Okay, let's start with the first one then, complacency. Our research called it vigilance's silent assassin. I like that. It feels right because it seems to be at the heart of that resistance you mentioned. And it's fueled by that old saying.
Oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes. You hear it everywhere in this industry.
Absolutely. It's almost a motto, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And it seeps down from the top, the executives holding the purse strings, right down to the folks on the ground operating the systems.
And that's where it gets particularly dangerous. Because threats, especially cyber threats, they often feel abstract.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't happened yet.
So it's easy to dismiss them.
Very easy. If a utility goes, say, 10, maybe 20 years without a major incident, and many do, this false sense of security just takes root. It becomes part of the culture. That it hasn't happened to us thinking. That's the killer argument against proper security funding.
And that's when the guardrails come down.
Precisely. Protection protocols get loosened, maybe they become optional. Monitoring lapses, you end up relying on, rusty old fences, cameras nobody's watching, warning signs peeling off the walls from decades ago.
Just the appearance of security.
Exactly. An illusion. And sticking to those comfortable old routines, it just leaves you weak, static, vulnerable.
And the irony, which the sources really hammered home, is just incredible. When that incident does finally hit, the same people who are most complacent, the ones saying, oh, that stuff doesn't happen here, they're the most shocked. And the loudest asking why more wasn't done to prevent it.
It's a predictable pattern, unfortunately. Total shock and outrage, demanding answers after years of ignoring the risks.
So if complacency is so deeply woven in, how do you even begin to fight it without, causing mass panic or a revolt?
It's about getting buy-in. Acceptance from everyone, really. And the key seems to be incremental change. You don't need a revolution overnight. The experts we looked at really emphasize small shifts. Think about steering a huge ship.
A supertanker, yeah.
Right, just a tiny 1-degree change in direction. Over distance, it puts you somewhere completely different.
So small steps, less resistance, but still moving forward.
Exactly. Those small shifts add up. They change the trajectory towards a culture that actually values security.
Okay, that makes sense. Small steps. Which leads us to the second internal barrier, misconceptions. These seem to come from old habits, maybe bad information or just not keeping up, and they block innovation.
They absolutely do. If people are operating under false assumptions, you can't make meaningful progress. We need to bust some myths.
Let's start with the first big one.
Misconception 1. Security is just an IT problem. This is a huge one. and fundamentally wrong. Any modern utility has at least 4 interconnected security areas. There's the cyber data side, that's IT, but then there's operational technology, OT.
The systems that actually control the grid, the water flow.
Exactly. Then you have physical security facilities, and finally, personnel security. They all overlap.
And we're seeing attackers exploit that overlap more and more, aren't we? They don't care about our org charts.
Not at all. They look for the weakest link. So, maybe a simple phishing email gets clicked by someone in accounting that seems like an IT issue. But if that gives the attacker credentials, suddenly they have a way into the OT network, the critical systems.
So IT and OT folks have to be talking, collaborating.
Constantly. It demands a holistic view, a 360-degree defense. You can't have these teams operating in silos.
Which ties into the parochialism point later, I bet. Okay, misconception 2.
Number 2, compliance equals security. This is especially relevant for utilities under regulations like NERC CIP.
Right, the mandatory stuff. You have to meet those critical infrastructure protection standards.
Absolutely. You must meet them, no question. But here's the misconception, thinking that just meeting those minimums means you're actually secure.
So it's the difference between, say, filling out the paperwork and actually being safe.
Precisely. Compliance often looks backwards. It sets a minimum bar based on past incidents or known threats. Real security has to be forward-looking, proactive, always adapting to what's coming next, not just what the regulations covered last year or the year before. It's not about just ticking boxes.
Okay, third myth. This one feels universal. Technology is the answer, the silver bullet. We hear about AI monitoring, zero trust this, advanced that. Amazing tools, no doubt.
Powerful tools, yes, but relying only on technology, that creates a dangerous false sense of security.
Why dangerous?
Because tech is only as good as the people using it and the rules guiding it. And let's be honest, tech gets old, fast. For every new defensive gadget you buy, there's someone out there already working on how to beat it. Often, whole groups of people.
So technology is a tool, a vital one, but not the whole strategy.
Exactly. Embrace it, use it, but never think it solves everything on its own. People and process are just as critical, if not more so.
All right, misconception number 4. The police will handle security. Law enforcement has our back.
Ah, yes. This one is deeply ingrained, partly thanks to TV and movies, I think.
It's tempting, isn't it? Especially for smaller utilities, maybe. Handing off that responsibility to the professionals, the ones with the badges.
It is tempting. It feels easier, maybe cheaper in the short run, but it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding.
Okay.
Law enforcement and organizational security are different things. They have different missions. Law enforcement typically reacts after something happens. They investigate crimes.
Whereas security is about prevention.
Exactly. Proactive prevention. Stopping the incident from happening in the first place. You absolutely need to coordinate with law enforcement, integrate them into your emergency plans. They're a crucial partner.
But you can't just outsource the core responsibility.
Never. You cannot delegate ultimate accountability for protecting your assets and keeping things running. That responsibility has to stay inside the organization. Period.
Okay, that covers the misconceptions. That brings us to the third big internal obstacle, parochialism. This sounds like the classic silo problem, the it's not my department, not my problem attitude.
That's exactly it, an inward focus. IT worries about IT, OT worries about OT, physical security guards the gates, HR does its thing, everyone stays in their lane.
And the risk there?
It creates a fractured defense, like a castle wall with big gaps between the guard towers. Experienced attackers, they look for those gaps. Our sources talk about exploiting the unprotected weak seams and communication gaps that these silos inevitably create. They target the handoffs, the gray areas between departments.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster. So how do you break down these walls? How do you make security a shared company-wide thing? The research gave us 3 main strategies.
Right. First one, foster cross-departmental collaboration. Actively.
Meaning?
Get people talking. Create actual joint task forces. Put IT, OT, physical security, HR, maybe legal, definitely management, all in the same room regularly. Have them share intelligence, plan responses together, make sure security isn't an afterthought, but baked into how everyone operates. A standing risk team with reps from everywhere is key.
Okay, makes sense. Strategy 2.
This was more cultural. Promote an all-in-the-same-boat attitude.
Getting everyone to understand they have a role to play.
Yes. From the CEO down to the person checking IDs at the gate, or even the cleaning crew noticing something odd. Everyone needs to grasp how their actions or inactions impact overall security.
And that takes more than just an annual email reminder.
Oh, much more. It requires ongoing, engaging training, not just check-the-box compliance stuff, but training that builds real vigilance. Helping an employee see how clicking a bad link isn't just an IT problem, it could potentially take down critical services. That changes behavior.
Got it. And the final strategy looks outwards.
Strategy 3. Leverage industry partnerships. Don't try to go it alone.
You mean things like ISACs?
Exactly. Information sharing analysis centers, peer groups, industry forums. These are vital. Utilities need to be actively participating, sharing threat information, sharing best practices. It builds a collective defense. An attack pattern seen in one utility today is valuable intel for everyone else tomorrow. We're stronger together.
So overcoming these three, complacency, misconceptions, parochialism, it's fundamental.
It really is. The analysis we've seen is stark. Standing still, staying comfortable with the old ways while the threats evolve. It's like sitting on a ticking time bomb. Rocking the boat isn't about disruption for its own sake. It's about survival. It's about adapting to a world that is, frankly, getting more dangerous.
And it sounds like tackling these internal issues, complacency, myths, silos, is the bedrock for building a truly resilient and reliable utility. But let's be clear, this isn't easy. It means challenging long-held beliefs, pushing people, including leaders, way outside their comfort zones.
It takes serious effort. The sources use phrases like a truckload of stamina and courage. I think that captures it well.
Yeah. So the big takeaway seems to be that internal resistance. It creates weaknesses that no amount of technology or physical barriers can truly fix. You have to look inward first. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on this week, pulling together everything we discussed. What's one small, maybe uncomfortable 1-degree shift you could initiate starting today? Something to challenge a silo? Question an old assumption about security in your organization? Where can you start rocking the boat? Just a little.
Don't forget to visit our website at utilitysecurity.com for exclusive intel, resources, and a community of fellow utility security professionals. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay tuned for your next mission briefing.
The views, information, and opinions expressed during this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Utility Business Media and its employees. It is strongly recommended that you discuss any actions or policy changes